Hey guys, it's Steph, the Midwest Cowgirl, and today I'm letting Scotty take the reins, and he's going to be teaching you guys how to build an H-brace.
Hey guys, it's Scott, and today I'm going to teach you how to build an H-brace. The purpose of an H-brace is to provide resistance to a lateral force against the fence. So when you string up your high tension line, your cameo, whatever you're using, you're going to have force pulling the fence post on the corner towards the center. It's going to pull from that force. So what we're going to do with an H-brace is build a structure here that's going to provide resistance to that force. To build an H-brace, we need 3 posts. We need posts that are going to be vertical, and I typically do a 5 to 6 inch diameter post for those. And then we need the horizontal brace right here. You can stick with a 5-6 for this if you want, but I usually scale down to a 4-5 just to save a few bucks, honestly. I wouldn't go less than a 5 or 6 inch diameter post. Otherwise, you may have to rebuild them a little while. Stick with a thicker diameter, make sure that you have a lot of life in those posts. So I've already dug out and put in my corner post. So this one is the corner post. I went down about 3 feet, and so that gives us with 5 feet of post here. How I mark out my second post is I just typically line up the brace here, and then I just mark where that hole's gonna be, and then I run a string line to the other post so that everything's lined up. And so that is how I got this one lined up for the second post. We're gonna take a level here and just make sure that everything is plumb before we backfill the hole. I have already put a little bit of stone in it, and then I'll backfill the rest with the soil that we dug up. A lot of the posts aren't perfect. You're gonna get some wonkiness to them, but this is pretty close, and that's pretty much right on. And this is pretty close too. If you have a weird bend, I typically turn it on its side so that all my lines are still flat. It's just a personal preference. Now I'm gonna backfill the post, that we have everything lined up and level and plumb, and we'll double check at the end just to make sure it's still plumb once we've buried it. We'll have to tamp it down a little bit too, just make sure. I didn't want to show you digging the hole because it's 3 feet of clay and it took me a half hour. It may move a little while you're doing this. That's okay. You've already placed it where it needs to go, and if you put a little stone in there, it should lock it in pretty close. You may just need to adjust it a little bit at the end with the level, but as far as placement, it should be spot on still. All right, we have the post set. The next thing we're gonna do is mark the location of our H-brace pins where we're gonna install those. I've created a storyboard or a marking stick, whatever you wanna call it, for when I install all my lines. So I have it marked where I want my lines, my electric, my H-brace. Makes it a lot easier, especially if you're doing a lot of fencing. Instead of having to bust out a tape measure every time, just have this ready to go. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna take the string line off now too. Everything is pretty much lined up. I don't need to worry about having that string line up anymore. That's just gonna get in the way. Kitty. Oh my God, he is. Can I have this back, sir? Get out of here. Punky. The next step is putting in our pins. So these are 10-inch H-brace pins. They sell 5-inch, but I always felt like the 10-inch just made more sense. So we have these, I have 2, 1 for each side. We're gonna drill a hole through the post, and then we're gonna drill a hole into the brace so that the pins can set inside there. So just find your mark, and I believe it's a 3/8 drill bit, but I'll double check that. Make sure it went through. It's pretty close. Okay. Try not to hit the hot wire, which looks fun. All right, we've drilled our holes. Now it's time to hammer these things in. You're gonna go from the back of the post, hammer in, and don't hammer all the way through. Hammer just maybe about there for now. because you still need to get the H-brace part on. It's pretty good for now. Okay. Pins are set. We have our holes in the brace. Now we're gonna try to put it onto these pins. So just gently kind of feather it in there. And then you find this one. This is why you don't want to hammer them in too far, because you need to have a little wiggle room to put these in. All right, so they're both in, and now we'll hammer them into place. Perfect. One thing to keep in mind when planning your H-brace is to know where you want to put your strings in relation to the brace. And also they say to have the H-brace maybe like 2/3 to 3/4 of the way up. So that way you'll have good placement and everything. I have my lines divvied out after 18 inches. I have them divvied out every 10.5, and then this falls right in between I think it's like the 3rd and the 4th line, or the 4th and 5th line, whatever it was, 3rd and 4th line. So just want to make sure you have a proper plan in place before you just start throwing them up there. Now that we have the brace installed, we need to put in our inline strainer and the high strength wire to hold the brace actually in place. So when you're trying to figure out which way to put this cable, think about which way it's getting pulled. So if it's getting pulled this way, then your wire should wrap around that way, because you're gonna try to pull it back up. So that's how you know which way to go. So if it's pulling this way, that's the angle you're kind of going. Wrap your wire top here, bottom here, it'll pull it back. So we'll get these installed. What I typically do is put a couple fencing staples in to hold the wire in place. So one there, and I'll put one down here. And then we're gonna get our wire, wrap that, and then we'll put the inline strainer on. Just don't touch the hot. Okay, we have our wire on. Next thing we're gonna do is put in the inline strainer. Always put the inline strainer on the outside of the fence. The last thing you want is the horses messing with this thing and trying to chew on it and do something weird. So always have it on the outside so that they can't mess with it. I don't want to get shocked, so we're gonna hold on to that. You can use a crimping tool if you want. I don't waste my energy with that. I just wrap it around really tight, and it's never had an issue. It may look a little nicer in the end, I suppose. All right, so we have our wire wrapped around the top part. There's a hole right in here that we're gonna feather this part through and bend it, and then we're gonna ratchet it on there. I usually wrap it around for a little bit, and then I'll cut off the excess, because then as you tighten it, it will wrap around and hold it in place. All right, guys, we got the inline strainer in place. We do have this cool tool. It's a strainer handle that you can use when you really need to tension it. I'll just show you how it works. It literally just locks into here, and that's how you tighten it. So this is good once you actually have line on for tensioning it. You can use a wrench if you want, but this thing is nice and easier. That's the gist of an H brace. You have your posts, you have your lateral brace, and we have the high tension wire, the high strength steel with the strainer to hold everything in place and provide that resistance for when we have the lines actually go in. I hope my explanation made sense for you guys. They aren't the hardest things to install, but if you haven't done it before, they could maybe be a little bit overwhelming. So I hope that you find the video helpful. I hope you're able to do it on your own. I hope you enjoy my beautiful work. And yeah, leave a comment if you have any questions or if you like the work. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate the support. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the video.